What is up, YouTube? Archinook 417 here. Today I am riding the 2016 Indian Scout. This is a glossy black, not the flat black version. So yeah, I just rode the 2016 Indian Chief Dark Horse. That was a huge bike. First impressions of this bike, it's a lot smaller than the Dark Horse. It's a lot different than the Dark Horse, honestly. Wow, great power. So first impressions, it's a lot smaller than the Dark Horse. Very easy to maneuver, and it's just easy to move around when you're stopped. The throttle is a lot different also. There's not as much dead play in the throttle, so if you pull it at all, it'll start going. If you turn it at all, it's very different feel. But yeah, this bike just wants to take off. It's got a ton of torque. It's about 100 horsepower and 72 foot-pounds of torque in the smaller package. Wet weight says 585 pounds, so that's not too much for a cruiser. That's pretty good, actually. I have ridden the 2015 Indian Scout, and that was a lot of fun. I had a blast on that one. This is a 2016. I don't think they've changed anything really. 69 cubic inch engine. And yeah, 172 for the power numbers. Clutch is very easy to engage. You just roll off and then roll slightly on the throttle and you're already going. Nothing to it. You don't have big floorboards like the Dark Horse. You got just foot pegs right there. But yeah, very easy to operate at low speeds. And it feels like a light bike. It really does. It feels like a light bike. And it feels like a small bike, honestly. It's like the size of a Harley Street 750 almost, or maybe a little bit bigger, I don't know. Man, this thing just wants to take off on you. But it's not too hard to control once you get used to it. This bike revs pretty high. I think it's at like 8,000 RPM or something is when it makes its peak horsepower, and peak torque is about 6,000 RPM. So but yeah, wow, it feels like a very manageable bike at this size. Very manageable for sure. So like I said, the seat isn't very comfortable, but the position you sit in is actually pretty comfortable. You're pretty much upright, and your arms aren't all the way stretched out like some of the other cruisers I've ridden. So it's a fairly comfortable position. You know, you get used to it as you ride it more and more. I think all of the Indians have the same, oh yeah, I think all of the Indians have the same speedometer and tachometer setup. They all have this kind of retro speedometer with the digital tachometer, which is right in the middle there in the little screen. Oh yeah, brakes are very firm. I like that. This bike has ABS too, so you don't have to worry about hitting the brakes too hard because it'll just, ABS will work for you. Shifting, you do have to kind of kick it up a bit, but it's very smooth, it goes in gear every time. The clutch is very easy to operate, especially taking off from a start. You let it up slowly, give it a tiny bit of gas, and you're good. So yeah, seat height, 25 inches it says. Very low. I'm 5'11", my knees are extremely bent. You know, cruisers are usually low seat height. So, no problems there. And this is a lot lighter than the Dark Horse I just rode. So someone smaller or shorter would have no problem balancing this. The bike's not quiet, but it's not loud. And it kind of sounds like, I don't know, it's alright when you get on it all the way, but it's way too quiet for my taste, way too tame. Something like that Indian over there has, that Indian Scout, that would be a lot better, but this is way too quiet for my taste. But yeah, this bike, wow, this bike is just so easy to ride, honestly, very easy to ride. The weight is manageable by, I think, someone of any size, really. And it's just easy to operate the clutch and the gas and just go. You don't have to worry about the throttle. The throttle's, I mean, you do kind of get used to it. But yeah, the power is just there. The torque is just there. 6th gear is pretty smooth. There's honestly not that much vibration in the handlebars or the tank. So that's nice when you're in 6th gear and you're cruising. This bike does have a gear indicator too, which is nice when you first jump on it and you don't know what's what, who's who. Oh yeah, there you go. When you get into the upper RPMs, it just pulls hard. And it's a light bike too, so you really feel it. It's awesome. Yeah, I like cruising in 4th gear. You don't get too much vibration and you can still have torque and power to just go if you need to. Take this corner right here. Yeah, very easy to maneuver in a corner. Woo! That is quick. Holy cow. This thing hauls. Oh yeah. It's just so satisfying just having that torque on hand. Oh my goodness. Having that torque right there all the time is just so satisfying. I guess we're going the middle lane. So the wind is pretty substantial at a highway speed, 75. There is a lot of wind. Some of them come with windscreens, so that might be a good option if you're always on the highway. So yeah, I have ridden this before, but man, this is, holy, these things are quick. So, concluding remarks, I will say that this bike, although it's not the most comfortable, the seat is kind of hard, and I don't know, the seat's not that comfortable. Seating position, because the seat's not very comfortable, it's a little more taxing on your back, I think. But the good things about this bike, it's light, very easy to maneuver, very easy to handle at low speeds. Being light and having this much power is definitely a good thing. Woo! Gets up to speed very quickly. Good things, it's got really good brakes actually. Very easy to ride, tons of power, easy to maneuver at low speeds. Any negatives? I'd say excessive vibration in the higher RPMs, but you don't really cruise up in the higher RPMs at all, so that's not really a negative, it's just a point. Only thing I don't like is the seat. It's just not that comfortable. Everything else though, awesome bike. In 2016 Indian Scout. What is up, YouTube? Archinook 417 here. Today I am riding the 2016 Indian Scout. This is a glossy black, not the flat black version. So yeah, I just rode the 2016 Indian Chief Dark Horse. That was a huge bike. First impressions of this bike, it's a lot smaller than the Dark Horse. It's a lot different than the Dark Horse, honestly. What is up, YouTube? Archinook 417 here. Today I am riding the 2016 Indian Scout. This is a glossy black, not the flat black version. So yeah, I just rode the 2016 Indian Chief Dark Horse. That was a huge bike. First impressions of this bike, it's a lot smaller than the Dark Horse. It's a lot different than the Dark Horse, honestly.